Hey guys, what's up? PVMJohnny here, and I haven't been paying too much attention to the RuneScape news, but according to this, the bot nuke already happened, because this is an English world, and there's no bots here at Grotworms at all. So I guess that the bot nuke already happened. I didn't know this yet. They didn't make it as huge as it sounded like they were going to, and I also got a fish mask from the Squeal of Fortune. Now this is on the rise right now because it's only weeks away from them being limited edition and them being discontinued. So they are only about 300k away from where it would have been if I converted it to coins. So obviously you could be like, oh yeah, get an extra 300k, blah blah blah. Go convert it to coins like any quote-unquote smart person would do. And then you really look at it and you think about it and you say, oh, well, it's rising right now anyways. It's probably going to rise that extra 300k, and I'm just going to hold on to it for a while. I don't want to sell it until it's worth like 10 mil-ish, because I know that eventually it will hit there if it stays discontinued. But if they ever bring any thoughts of it being brought back into the game, like if they put a thing on the newsfeed saying fish masks next summer too, or something like that, then I'll sell it right away for whatever price it is then, which should definitely be higher than 5 mil, which is what I'm close to getting right now. So that's a free 5 mil sitting in my bank for whenever I really need it. And then obviously with Grotworms being empty, I'm gonna camp here for a little while. It's not the best money maker right now, considering that I only have rune armor, and so it's kind of like, yeah, well, rune armor is not great, so I can't really do a whole lot here. And I usually eat a full monkfish every kill, if not two. And then I also use my enhanced Excalibur every now and then. So that's that. And then I did most of my tasks today, which is actually how I got 82 dungeoneering. I got the dungeoneering task yesterday, and then when it reset today, I did it again, and that's like 300k dungeoneering XP right there. So I'm pretty close to getting 83, and I obviously only 700k away from 85. And then I could start doing Frost Dragons, which hopefully will not be as packed as people say it is. And if Frost Dragon Bones aren't worth selling at the time, I could always just use them on my own prayer, get my prayer up to like 80. You know, I don't really want to pay a whole lot for prayer, so I'm hoping that I could just buy kill Frost Dragons for it. And sorry for my throat being really sore. I actually went to the doctors today. They said I have an upper respiratory infection, I think they called it, but I can't tell if that's a bot or not. I don't think it is, considering that it has a fishing cape and a Slayer helm. But let's see if it responds. Oh, that actually might be a bot. It'd be pretty funny if you just saw a mass of people log on and start attacking the Grotworms, and it's like the bots just instantly came back. But anyways, this is just going to be my little video about me talking about bots, since this is the whole reason that I brought up this video. And I'm already 3 minutes in and I haven't even started talking about it yet. But obviously Jagex has some kind of faith in their bot nuke, because random events have always been something to control the bots. Like, you'll go to any given random event and you'll see a ton of bots trapped there. And when I say trapped, I mean they're like trapped there, like they won't get out for days upon days. And you'll see the same bot at the same random for like 3 days in a row, which is pretty funny. And so, now that they've removed random events, it's like, well, then what's going to control all the bots? They just don't think that there's going to be any bots anymore. Which is why they took out randoms. They took out randoms because without bots, there's no need for bot control, in which case you don't need to worry about random events, because that's just a nuisance to the players, as we all know. And it's also one of those things that's it shouldn't have been there in the first place, but it had to be because of the bots. And now that the bots are going to be gone, then it's going to be all better. And he just said PVM, so that guy's obviously not a bot. He's asking if I'm on my Slayer task. No, sir, I am not. Just making some moolah and getting some pretty good combat XP too. hopefully I can just camp these guys till I get like 85 attack, and then sell all my loot and probably get bandos by then, to be honest. Because these things are really good money. Like, you could elk this, and this, and that's 100k right there. Actually, that probably is close to 100k. I thought I was exaggerating for a minute. I know the GE prices are about the same as elk prices, so I want to check that real quick. Check if that actually is close to 100k. Oh, come on, buddy. Kill him. Don't make me piety flash. Oh, now this one's gonna attack me. Okay, well I know that it's close to 100k anyways. But then obviously that all has been... obviously Jagex has faith in their bot nuke. So that's giving me some kind of hope in Jagex as a company that actually cares about their players, is that they are actually showing us that they have faith in their own decisions, which kind of gives us the ability to have faith in their decisions. You know, like, if they didn't have faith in their own decisions like they haven't been in the past with the whole Squeal of Fortune and everything, they've been like, oh yeah, we know this is bad and whatever, then we don't really have faith in them either. Like, you saw so many people yelling about the whole banning of famous players, and they were sitting there talking about that. I think it was in one of the live streams maybe, but I remember it was either on the forums or in one of the live streams where I heard a JMod talking about it, and he was just like, oh yeah, well, those players were brought like a big section of the community, so we don't know if that was the right move. Like, obviously Stokenut had his entire clan behind him, and what could have very well happened is they banned him and his entire clan just quit, just to kind of revolt against Jagex. And then they'd be forced to unban him because of that happened, and then they would have to unban the other players that they banned, and it just wouldn't be pretty. So, you know, obviously Jagex is having faith in their moves like they have not in the past, and so that's giving us faith in them, and that's why I actually think I'm going to continue playing this. You know, I have not played a lot recently, and I saw a lot of videos talking about quitting, like UBS's song Memories, talking about how we all have to quit one day, and how good it was back then, and how slowly but surely it's getting less enjoyable. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to stop playing for like a week. I'm not going to actually quit. And then I actually got feelings like, oh yeah, what if I actually quit? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. And I just started thinking about quitting. But, you know, things like this make me not want to quit. You know, I actually want to go out and max out my account now. And that brings me to my next point, maxing out this account and the Maxscape from scratch. The Maxscape from scratch, basically, I don't know if you guys have seen Bodhi's series, Playing RuneScape Properly. It's one of my favorite series, and basically he dropped everything on his bank, and he's like, okay, well, I haven't really made money the most quote-unquote legit ways, so I'm going to try and make money the same ways that you guys make money, because obviously you guys can't sell shoutouts, you guys can't really sell dung floors because you're probably not 120 dung, you guys may not be able to sell fight kilns, you know. So he basically restarted without doing any of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, he actually learned how to play the game when he did that. Now that he's already got himself, like, a ton of wealth back, 1 second, I gotta give my lizard some water. Now that he's gotten a ton of wealth back after having dropped all his chaotics, after having dropped all his items, or at least put them into spirit shards that he eventually just bought cosmetics with anyways. So after doing all of that, he just he's already gotten all this stuff back, and he really learned how to quote-unquote play RuneScape properly, which I think that before I could start a Maxscape from scratch account, I need to learn how to play RuneScape, and that would include actually going out and doing things that I haven't done before, like bossing and getting like 2,000 total level, or just setting goals like that for myself, and just basically learning how to play the game efficiently and still have fun with it. And I don't want to really get into a Maxscape from scratch series when I don't know how to actually, once again, quote-unquote, play RuneScape. You know, like, obviously this account would be a lot higher with how much time I've put into it, and it would have a lot more money with how much time I've put into it, if I actually knew what I was doing from the very beginning. But I really didn't. Like, I remember cutting U's and being like, yeah, I got 100k, I could stop now. Wait, what could I spend 100k on, you know? I already had rune armor from cutting U's earlier, and it's like, well, the next real big jump up is dragon, and that's like 300k just for the plate legs. And that's not even a huge jump up either, you know? I think that there should be something between rune and dragon. Or I also think that there should be like a lower level melee armor that's not necessarily a lower tier, but like not like bronze or iron or something. I mean like between rune and dragon that's easy to obtain, but it also offers better defensive stats than rune. Because a lot of new players will get like 100k and be like, yeah, I'm so rich. They'll go out buy rune, they'll get another 100k, be like, okay, well what do I buy now? You know, I feel wealthy, but I have nothing to spend my wealth on. And even if you're sitting there saying, oh yeah, 100k is not wealthy, maybe not for you, but now you've got 100 mil. Let's bump up the scenario a bit. You've got 100 mil full bandos, and you're like, okay, nothing better to spend my money on right now until I get Torva, and that's going to be a long way down the road, you know. So you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, you know, like that's why that's the one of the only things that I liked about the evolution of combat that they talked about, and that's fixing the tiers in the equipment, fixing the gaps in all the tiers that they have. And there are some gaps that really needed to be adjusted. And I think with the new Bandos and Bandos armor, the new magic armor, that kind of stuff, that helps a little bit. Some of the armor in the beta, like the Batwing magic armor and that kind of stuff, that helps it a little bit, you know. And then if you were to put stuff like that into use in the melee range, where you would have like, let's say, I don't even know what a good example would be, but something between rune and dragon, or something between adamant and rune, because the jump from adamant to rune is pretty huge too. So, you know, you don't have to have those huge high-level updates all the time. You could just throw in a few low-level things here and there, and it's still just as good. And so, you know, this turned from a discussion about bots to a discussion about the game in general. And this doesn't mean in any way that I like the EOC or the idea of it. I don't like what they wanted to do with Spirit Shields originally. I know that they planned on changing this, but I mean, taking out the Divine's ability and sharing it with the Elysian in Arcane, that's just stupid. I mean, the Divine was the Divine for a reason. It was a literally divine shield. You know, it seemed like the RuneScape god came down and gave it to you because you just wouldn't take damage. And I don't know if you guys wouldn't noticed yet, but you could actually see my cast stack now because I turned off the bars that were up here. And so, you know, then the Elysian was like, oh yeah, the second best shield in the game, but it doesn't have an absorption. That's nice because what if you need your prayer somewhere, like Barrows? Bam, Elysian's good for that. DKs, bam, Elysian's good for that. Wilderness, you're not a prod because you're not using the best stuff in the game. You're using the second best. And so the Elysian, like the way that it is right now, all three shields have their uses. Why change that and make it so that they're only good in small areas? You know, right now every spirit shield is good in every area if you really wanted it to be. You know, I could go out and say I want to go barrage Bandos because that's actually one semi-decent tactic to killing him is barrage him once, run away, and polypore him. And that's a decent tactic to killing him. And so, you know, if I wanted to do that, Arcane's good. If I wanted to go Barrows, Elysian's good. But if I wanted to go Bandos with melee armor, Elysian would be good there. If I wanted to go Barrows with magic armor, Arcane would be good there. You know, they're all spread pretty equally throughout everything, depending on what your quote-unquote limiting factor is. Now, I know I've said quote-unquote a lot, but that's just kind of something that I like saying for whatever reason. But, you know, they're all depending on what your limiting factor is. So when you go to a boss trip, you know, if you run out of food but you still have tons of prayer pots, then your limiting factor is food. If you run out of prayer but you still have tons of food, your limiting factor is prayer. You know, whatever it is that makes you cut that trip a few kills short, that's your limiting factor. You know, and that's why people try and make the perfect inventories with just the right amount of food and just the right amount of prayer so that neither of them are the limiting factor. The limiting factor is just your inventory space in general. You know, if you run out of a pack yak and you fill up your entire inventory, and then that your trip's over, you've filled up all you can with loot. That's the optimal situation that people want. So, you know, they'll go as hard as they can to try and get that optimal situation to be the outcome. And so, changing the spirit shields, that changes that completely. And then changing the claws makes Tormented Demons a boss that is impractical, unprofitable, and just flat out a grind now, because you're losing money, you're not having too much fun, to be honest. I don't know, you know, there could be some people who find TDs fun, but, you know, from what I've seen, they don't look that fun. They look more like a grind, and they're not that profitable. So, you know, that makes TDs pointless. Another thing I don't like about the EOC is that RuneScape is a simplistic game. It is built on simplicity. You could sit down, and you would have been able to sit down when you were 8 years old and sit down and know how to play the game just as well as you do now that you're 16, if you're like me, you know. I've been playing this game since I was 10 years old, on the dot. My friend showed it to me on my birthday. And so, 10 years old. That's 6 years I've been playing this game. Not on this account, but 6 years I've been playing this game. And I was able to understand it just fine when I was 10 as opposed to now when I'm 16. You know, of course some things make more sense, but I was able to play it and still have fun being a 10-year-old. You know, that's what I like about this game. It's simple enough to the point where a 10-year-old can play it and have fun. It's also simple enough to the point where once you get home from school or work and you're like, okay, I want to take a nap, you could just hop on RuneScape instead, and you don't even have to think. You could just get down and you could AFK some RuneSpan. You could go Slayer. You could go do anything you want, and you pretty much never have to worry about thinking too hardly about stuff. Now with all the abilities and stuff, you actually have to think, and I know that was their goal, but that's also one of the things that RuneScape was built off of, is not having to think about it. You know, you could just sit down and play it whenever you want to. You don't have to think about it, and that was a nice thing about the game, and now that's being taken away. And also, what was another thing that the EOC is ruining? Skills, it's definitely going to benefit off the EOC. And the fact that they think they could, like, look at World of Warcraft versus, I think it's Guild Wars is another good taskbar game with an action bar like the EOC. And so, you know, like, people are like, okay, well, Guild Wars sucks. I'm going to go to World of Warcraft because it has a better action bar. And now they're thinking people will be like, oh yeah, well, World of Warcraft sucks. I'm going to RuneScape because it has a better action bar. But no, anybody who's looking for a game with an action bar now is going to be like, oh yeah, well, World of Warcraft has had an action bar for however many years it's even been out. It's had it since the very beginning, so they have to have perfected the action bar by now. And Jagex just started the action bar, so they probably don't have that whole idea, that whole coding, all that stuff perfected yet. And so they're actually losing potential customers by doing that, which I think is a dumb move on their part. And so the EOC as a whole I do not like. Like I said, the filling the gaps in the equipment tiers, definitely a plus. The work harder for a better payout, definitely a plus. Although that does kind of contradict what I said earlier about it being simplistic. I also think that when you work harder, you should get more XP. For example, construction. There should be an AFK-able way to do construction, and then the way right now, which is very click-intensive. And obviously the way right now is going to be faster, but it's click-intensive, so it's more work, more payoff. You know, going to Bandos versus going to Nex. Nex is tougher, more work, more payout. You know, just think about it like that, you know. And so another plus about the EOC would be, don't really know. But anyways, that is a good 20-minute video, so that's going to be about it for right now. And I'll have another progress video out soon. I'm going to hopefully be 2,000 total by the end of this half of school year, whatever it's called, semester. And so by the end of this semester, I want to have 2,000 total. So I think I'll be able to do that. And then I want to try and get 2100 by the time that the school year ends, 2200 by the time that summer ends, and then max it out by the end of the next school year. So I would be maxed out by the end of senior year, which would be really nice. And I think that I could actually max out sooner than that, potentially, if I really honestly tried to and went like all out 2 levels a day. You know, because that's more than a year. And so 2 levels a day, that easily maxes me out. 1 level a day easily maxes me out, and I could do 1 level a day pretty easily. But obviously I won't be playing every single day, so, you know, averaging out to about 1 to 2 levels every day that I play, I could easily max it out by the end of senior year. So we'll see how long it takes me to max out. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. And by the way, let me know on this. Obviously, I was talking about Bodie's Playing RuneScape Properly series. I do like that series, and so let me know if you guys think I should do something with my entire bank. I'm not going to touch the fish mask for right now. That's staying, like I said, till it raises in price quite a bit. And so, the, let's see here. I don't even know what I was about to say. Like, if I were to sell, oh yeah, I remember now. If I were to sell my entire bank and then spend it all on summoning and get like 80 summoning or something like that, something high, I'm actually 6 days away from getting 80 summoning anyways from the 700k XP that you're getting at the end of the summer. I'm going to spend that on 400k of it on summoning, 300k of it on dungeoneering, and then get the last 400k dungeoneering XP legit, and then go do frost dragons. But anyways, if I were to spend that stuff on like summoning and let's say construction, and then just do another rebuilding series. I know that I've already done a few of these, but I do like starting from nothing because then it's fun to see how fast you can build back up to where you were, and then beyond that. And if you think about it, if you keep doing that, then you could build up and go eventually beyond even more, and eventually you'll build up to the point where you could get bandos in like a week. Like, think about it, if you were to build up for a week, drop everything, build up for a week, drop everything, eventually you'll get so good at whatever it is you're doing for money, you'll be able to get bandos in a week. Like, if I wanted to go bandos for money with my stats, after the first week I might get a few combat levels, you know, off of melee levels that I get off of bandos, and I might get some decent gear. The next week I'll have better gear, I'll have better stats, I'll make even more money. The next week I'll have even better gear, I'll have even better stats, I'll make even more money, and I'll also have my technique perfected. And so, you know, that's that. So obviously I'm not going to be doing bandos just camping there time and time again. I'm going to be camping growworms, like I said. Oh, is he talking to me? Yeah. Oh, he's in my friend's chat. I thought that was someone from my clan. That's actually a sub that came up to me yesterday and said he liked my videos. So I really enjoy when you guys say that. If you guys like my videos, feel free to tell me. My private's always on, and it means a lot. So little shout out to X Notorious for making my day better yesterday just by telling me, hey, dude, I like your videos, you know. So I will see you guys tomorrow then. Actually, maybe not tomorrow. We'll see whenever my next video comes out. Because with cross season right now and me being sick, it's kind of tough to make videos, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know. Bye.